At my husband's new job orientation, I brought him lunch as a surprise. While walking in, his new manager mistook me for his girlfriend's crazy ex. When I corrected him, his face went pale. I handed my husband his lunch, and a note that said, "You're fired from this marriage." Hi. I'm Alyssa, 38, from Knoxville, Tennessee. This is not a story I ever thought I'd write. I used to see stories like this online and think, wow, how do people not see the signs? Now I know. You don't see them because you're too close. Because you're too busy loving someone who stopped loving you a long time ago. I was married to Mark for 10 years. We met when I was 23 and he was 25. It was at a football tailgate at UT. He was loud, funny, knew how to make people laugh. I was quieter. I guess I liked how confident he was. We dated for a little over a year, got married fast. Our life wasn't flashy. We had a little house on the edge of the city, a dog, some dreams about kids. We tried. I had 2 miscarriages. After the second one, I told Mark I couldn't try again. It broke me. He told me it was okay, that we'd figure something else out. Looking back, I think that's when he started to drift. But I didn't notice at the time. I thought we were both just grieving differently. Things got strange over the last 2 years. At first it was subtle, new clothes, going to the gym, being protective of his phone. I didn't want to be that wife, the one who's always suspicious, so I told myself it was normal. People change. They hit middle age and start caring about health and image. That's what I told myself. Then I started noticing names I didn't recognize on his phone. One stuck out, Ash. I asked him about it once. He said it was short for Ashton, a guy from work. I didn't press him. That was a mistake. Mark got a new job recently. He said it was in logistics, better pay, good benefits. I was proud of him. Honestly, I thought we were turning a corner. Things between us were better, at least on the surface. He was more attentive, less tense. Now I realize he was just hiding things better. So on his first day at the new job, I decided to surprise him with lunch. I made him his favorite, turkey club sandwich, banana, a soda, and I left a little note in the bag. It said, "Proud of you. Let's keep building together." That part kills me now. I drove to the office building late morning, parked, and walked inside holding the brown paper bag. There was a guy at the front desk, looked like a manager. I smiled and said, "Hi, I'm just dropping off lunch for my husband, Mark Atwell. He just started today." He looked at me, confused at first. Then he said, "You're Alyssa?" I said, "Yes." And then he said it. The sentence that made my stomach drop. "Oh. I thought you were the crazy ex." I said, "Excuse me?" He kind of panicked. His face got tight. "I'm sorry, never mind. I must have misunderstood." But I saw it in his face. He wasn't confused. He was realizing he had been lied to. He'd been told something different. Something about me. I stood there frozen. Holding a stupid lunch bag, wearing a cardigan and jeans, thinking I was doing something sweet. And now I was trying not to throw up. The note inside just said, "You're fired from this marriage." I didn't go home right away. I drove around the city for a couple of hours. I parked by the river for a bit. Just stared at the water and thought about how I had no clue who my husband really was. The pain was dull and sharp at the same time. Like being underwater and on fire. He got home late that night. I was sitting in the dark in the living room, waiting. He opened the door slowly, like he was scared of what was behind it. "Alyssa," he said. I didn't let him go any further. "Don't," I said. He stepped inside. "I can explain." "No, you really can't," I said. "Because I saw everything. I saw how you looked at her. I heard what your manager said. And I'm not crazy, Mark. You made me look crazy. He didn't deny it. He didn't even try. He just stood there looking small. I want you out by the weekend, I told him. Don't make this harder than it has to be. He opened his mouth a few times. Like he wanted to argue. Then finally said, okay. I called a divorce lawyer the next morning. Got a referral to a private investigator too. I wasn't sure if I even needed one, but I wanted the truth. I deserved the truth. After 10 years, I needed to know what I was really dealing with. And what I got back crushed me. But it also set me free. He had been cheating on me with Ash, short for Ashley, for almost a year and a half. They met at his old job. She was in the marketing department. They started texting, then meeting up, then traveling together. They stayed at hotels in Gatlinburg, Nashville, even one trip to Asheville. Some of the hotel receipts were paid using his company credit card. He even claimed one trip as a business meeting. But here's what hurt the most, he told people I was his ex. Not just my wife and I are having issues. He told people he used to be married, but I was unstable and kept showing up places. He made it sound like I was obsessed. He turned me into a cautionary tale. That's when I stopped feeling sad and started feeling angry. After I got the PI report, something inside me snapped. It wasn't just the cheating. It was the lying. The way he rewrote our entire life like it meant nothing. Like I was the crazy one. Like I hadn't stood by him when he lost his job 3 years ago. Like I didn't hold him every night after my miscarriages. Like I wasn't the one paying half the mortgage when he blew through his savings investing in crypto. I was done being quiet. First, I made copies of everything. Screenshots of their texts. Hotel bookings. Selfies of them at a cabin in Gatlinburg, where he once promised he'd take me for our anniversary. I printed them all out. I wasn't sure what I'd do with them yet, but I wanted them ready. Mark stayed at a hotel after the weekend. He left his key and some of his stuff behind. He sent a few sad texts. I ignored them. Then he stopped texting and started blaming. He wrote, "You're overreacting, and I didn't mean to hurt you," followed by, "You always loved drama." That last one? That's when I decided he wasn't sorry. He was exposed. Here's the part one hadn't expected. Ashley wasn't single. Her full name, according to the PI report, was Ashley Reed Miller. She was married. Had been for 6 years. Her husband's name was Brian. They had a house in Maryville and a dog named Jasper. That flipped the whole thing on its head. I wasn't just cheated on. I was part of a whole second betrayal. Another marriage was burning, and he didn't even know it. I sat on the info for a few days, wondering what to do. Then I got my answer in the most messed up way possible. Brian called me. He said he found my number in Ashley's email. She left her laptop open one night, and curiosity got the better of him. He saw emails to someone named Mark, and then a calendar invite titled Weekend in Gatlinburg, Fake Client Retreat. He did some digging. He found out who Mark was. He searched court records and saw our marriage license. Then he found my social media. He said, "I just wanted to know, how long?" I told him. Everything. From the moment I showed up with lunch to the private investigator's report. He was quiet. Not angry. Just heartbroken. We talked for over an hour. It was weirdly comforting, talking to someone who understood exactly how bad it hurt. Before he hung up, he said something I won't forget. They thought they could burn down 2 lives and walk away clean. I think we should make sure they don't. This is where things really got moving. Mark and Ashley worked at the same company now. The logistics firm. It had a strict relationship disclosure policy. Romantic relationships between coworkers had to be reported to HR, especially if one was in a leadership position. Ashley was his direct team lead. She had approved overtime hours for him. They'd even booked hotel rooms while out of town for vendor training. My PI had all the proof. So I printed out the most damning stuff, blacked out my own name, and dropped an anonymous envelope at the company's HR office. Brian did the same. 2 separate complaints from 2 separate people. No way they'd ignore it. It took about 2 weeks. Then the fallout started. Ashley was fired. Not laid off or let go, fired with cause. HR found out she'd been billing company time for private trips and had lied on her travel expense forms. Mark wasn't fired, but he got pulled from all projects. His name was taken off a proposal he'd spent weeks preparing. He was told he was being put on probation, and his chances for promotion were suspended indefinitely. His boss, Phil, the guy who mistook me for the crazy ex, personally apologized to me. Said, "If I had known who you were, I would have handled that day a lot differently." I said, "You weren't the one lying." He was. You'd think it would have ended there, but it didn't. Ashley tried to file for unemployment. Her old company fought it. During the dispute, even more came out. She had used her corporate card for spa days, lingerie, and client meals that were just dates with Mark. Brian sent me screenshots of the internal emails he got from their attorney. It was bad. Then she did something really stupid. She showed up at my house. "You ruined my life." I crossed my arms. "No, you ruined it. I just made sure the lights were on when you did it." She got angry. Tried to shove the folder into my hands. "This is defamation," she said. I didn't even open it. I tore it in half and dropped it at her feet. "If you show up here again," I said, "I'll file a restraining order." "You think I'm the crazy ex? Try me." She left. Peeled off in some cheap SUV and didn't come back. Mark, of course, had no idea she came by. At least not right away. But I had security cameras by then. I sent him the footage in an email with no subject. Just the video. Let him see the mess he made walking up to my porch, still trying to shift blame. He didn't reply. But his mom did. Yeah. That's right. His mom. She emailed me a week later. Said she was so sorry for everything and that Mark didn't grow up this way. She wanted to meet for coffee. I almost deleted it. But then I thought, maybe it's time to tell everyone the truth. I didn't plan to meet Mark's mom, Lila. She and I were never close. She always treated me politely, but distant. Like I was someone who came with the furniture. Mark used to say she was just hard to read, but I knew she never saw me as family. So when she emailed me saying she wanted to talk woman to woman, I was suspicious. But I agreed. I chose a coffee shop in public, middle of the day, and I made sure my best friend knew exactly where I was. Lila showed up in pearls and a turtleneck, like she was heading to church. She looked tired. Eyes puffy. She didn't even order coffee. She just sat down and looked at me like she had no idea where to start. "I'm sorry," she said. "I really am. I didn't raise him to treat people this way." I stayed quiet. She fidgeted with a napkin. "He told me you found out, but he didn't tell me how. Or that it had been going on that long." "Over a year," I said flatly. "I didn't know he was capable of this," she whispered. "Then you don't know your son." That hit her. She looked down. "You're probably right." I wasn't expecting what came next. She said, "There's something you should know. I didn't come just to apologize. There's more." Lila told me that years ago, when Mark got laid off from his old job, he didn't just lose it. He was fired. For inappropriate behavior. An affair with a coworker. HR gave him the chance to resign quietly, and he took it. He never told me. He lied and said the company was downsizing, that he was one of many who got let go. I remember holding him that night while he cried, telling him it wasn't his fault. Turns out, it was. Lila said she begged him to tell me. She threatened to tell me herself, but he told her I was too emotional and it would break me. So she stayed quiet. She looked sick about it now. I thought maybe he changed, she said. He married you. You grounded him. He seemed stable. I nodded slowly. He just got better at hiding it. She wiped her eyes. I wish I had told you sooner. Me too, I said. She reached into her purse and slid over a small envelope. He left this at my house after you kicked him out. I wasn't going to give it to you. But maybe you should see it. Inside was a handwritten letter. I won't lie, I read it later that night. It was full of half-regrets. Apologies without any real ownership. He said he was lost, that he didn't know why he kept messing up. That he loved two people and couldn't choose. No. He did choose. He chose to lie. He chose to cheat. He chose to treat me like a side character in my own life. About 2 months after all this blew up, I filed for divorce officially. He didn't contest anything at first. We had a prenup, and I wasn't asking for anything extra. I just wanted out. But then Mark did something that made me realize he hadn't hit rock bottom yet. He asked for the house. The house I inherited from my aunt. The house that had been in my family for 3 generations. The deed was in my name. Always had been. But he filed a claim saying we'd co-invested in the renovation work and that he should be entitled to half the value or allowed to buy me out. I laughed when I read the notice. He renovated 2 bathrooms. With my money. And half the time, he called in his cousin to do it cheap and left the work half finished. My lawyer was ready. She had receipts. Photos. Contractor invoices. Even texts where Mark said, "This house is all yours, babe. I just live in it." We submitted all of it to the judge. But here's the twist. In court, Mark didn't show up. He sent a lawyer, some guy who looked younger than our marriage. The judge wasn't impressed. That same day, Ashley walked in. She sat in the back row. Just stared at me the whole time. I guess she wanted to see if I'd crack. I didn't. Outside the courtroom, she tried to talk to me again. Said something about Mark still talking to her. That he still loved her. I looked her dead in the eyes and said, he doesn't love anyone but himself. I wasn't the only one planning revenge. Brian, Ashley's husband, was quiet at first, but methodical. He waited until their divorce papers were filed. Then he sent an email blast to Ashley's entire extended family, including screenshots of her affair and receipts from her company card. Then he called the homeowners association where her parents lived, because she had used their address on some of the fraud paperwork. Her dad, who was a retired Army vet, cut her off completely. She ended up moving into a cheap apartment in Sevierville. Working part-time at a call center. From what Brian said, she and Mark weren't even talking anymore. It had all fallen apart. That's when it hit me, they didn't love each other. They were just using each other to escape the lives they ruined. And yet, somehow, Mark kept trying to slither back in. Late-night texts. I miss Harley. You don't have to be cruel. Can we talk? I blocked him. He started emailing. One day, I got a voicemail that said, I know I messed up. But we can still fix this. I want my wife back. No, Mark. You don't. You want the woman who kept the lights on. Who picked you up every time you fell. Who made you dinner while you were sneaking off to hotel rooms. But that woman? She's gone. After the court ruled the house was mine and denied Mark's claim completely, I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong. 3 weeks later, I came home to find the back door kicked in. The place had been torn apart. Drawers open, paper scattered, dishes smashed on the floor. Harley was hiding under the bed, shaking. Nothing valuable was stolen, just damage. Pure anger. I called the police. They filed a report. There was no sign of forced entry at the front door, so I checked the security footage. What I saw made my blood run cold. It was Mark. He'd waited until night. Wore a hoodie, tried to keep his face down. But I recognized him. His walk. His shoulders. The tattoo on his arm. He'd broken in through the back door and trashed the house. My house. My safe place. That night, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I got ready. I sent the footage straight to my lawyer. We filed a restraining order the next day. The police issued a warrant for property damage and violation of a civil order. But I wasn't done. I took all the footage. The photos. The court documents. Even the cheating evidence from the PI. And I sent it in one big package to his current employer's corporate HQ in Atlanta. His company had a policy about conduct, especially when it came to violence or legal trouble. A week later, I got an email from someone in their HR department. They were investigating. 2 days after that, Mark was fired. Not suspended. Not moved. Fired. With cause. They even reported it to the employment board, which meant it showed up on background checks. Ashley had been trying to clean up her image. She started some little PR business from her apartment. A few months later, I saw she was offering relationship coaching online. It made me sick. She'd deleted everything about her past. All her old LinkedIn jobs gone. New Instagram, new bio. Helping women find strength after betrayal. Can you believe that? So I made a quiet burner account. Sent screenshots of her affair, her firing letter, and the expense fraud to the brands she was tagging for sponsorships. Within days, her business page was flooded with comments. Real ones. Honest ones. From people who had read the truth. She tried to delete it all, but it was too late. Once it's out there, it stays. She took everything down 2 weeks later. Last I heard, she was waitressing at a diner in Crossville. Brian got full custody of their dog. Mark moved in with a friend after losing the job. Couldn't afford the hotel anymore. His truck got repossessed. His credit tanked. He tried filing for bankruptcy but forgot about the fraud flag on his work record. His claim got delayed, and then denied due to undisclosed legal proceedings. He called me again. Blocked number. Straight to voicemail. All he said was, "You win." No, Mark. I didn't win. You lost. All by yourself. Now it's been a year. The house is quiet again. Peaceful. I painted the living room a new color. Changed the locks. Adopted another dog so Harley would have company. I started working part-time at a local nonprofit. Helping women who've been through abuse and betrayal. Women like me. I'm not perfect. I made mistakes too. I trusted too long. I ignored red flags. I let myself become invisible in my own marriage. That was on me. But I learned. You can lose everything and still rebuild. You can be shattered and still come back sharper. Revenge didn't fix everything. But it gave me the closure Mark tried so hard to steal. He's still out there. Probably telling people I'm the villain. Let him. Because the truth? It's out there now. In HR files. In court records. In every email and screenshot I made sure got sent to the right hands. He tried to write me out of my own story. Now, he's just a footnote in mine.